Blackest God Podcast, Episode 2. First, I like to start this by saying, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent and the Merciful, I like to bear witness there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is his messenger. I would like to greet you all with the greeting words of Assalamu Alaikum. Simply put, peace be unto you. It's brother O.T.G, brother Charles 7X, 7X O.T.G, another day, another dollar, you know what it is. So I feel, first off, I'm glad to be here. It's September 14th, 2021. You know, it's about 8 p.m. at night. You know, as I prepare for, my radio show, aka live podcast, whatever we call that thing, I wanted to just touch base with you one time and talk to you about Yakub. I spent a lot of time the last couple of days just looking at the news and looking at everything that was happening, looking at this Met Gala, looking at everything that has to do with Lil Nas X, just looking at how crazy the world is and how we losing our civilization. And I know y'all out here about to say, oh man, brother Charles X about to take us over here. Here we go again. Yep, here we go again. Here we go again. You should definitely do better. If you know better, you do better, And so I feel like a lot of you guys don't know, and so sometimes you just got to bring the teachings to you. If you scared to come to the teachings, then we going to bring the teachings to you and show you how it makes sense today. So, I feel like a lot of our brothers and sisters is running around in the world. We got this vaccine thing happening. We got so much stuff going on, and we just don't really know who we are, and we got to take the time. Just take the time to understand. Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that we haven't been taught correctly. We've been taught the wrong science. You know what I mean? And when you taught the wrong science, then you don't know yourself. You see what I'm saying? Like, you definitely don't know yourself. And without knowing yourself, then you out here being somebody else. And so I think we need to have an understanding and kind of just tap in, with the understanding that you need to understand and know who the devil is first. You know what I mean? Like, in order to know that you're God and that you need to step into your God-like self, you need to have an understanding of who the devil is. And I know that a lot of people, when you say the devil, people start looking and feeling a certain kind of way. They start to imagine a little red man or something. But the devil is actually all around us. It could be you. A lot of us are devils at this point because we lost our civilization in the way that we at. We out here on all fours. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean. You know what I mean? You know. You've been out here on some all four behavior. Better get off all fours, brother. So what I wanted to do is, because I know for a lot of you guys, you don't trust it until you see it. You know what I mean? You gotta see the proof. And so if you look right here on this screen, what you'll see is, you'll see some pictures. The picture in the bottom is from the cave of Apocalypse and Patmos. And we're going to talk about Yakub. We're going to get into it. Then you'll have a better understanding. If you look all the way to the right, that's also in this cave. It's called the Cave of Apocalypse and Patmos, which is in Greece, a couple miles off the coast of Turkey. If you're unfamiliar with Patmos, we're going to get into the prophecy of Yakub right now. So On August 17th, 1957, Honorable Elijah Muhammad wrote an article in New York Amsterdam News. And I want to read this, So it says, the knowledge of Mr. Yakub's birth, work, and death was known 8,400 years before he was born. This scientist is known to be the God of this world, the father of the Caucasian race, known in certain places in the Bible as being the father of the tribes, and is called in English language Jacob. Jesus mentioned him as being the father of sin, the devil, John 8:41-44, of which he is right. According to the word of Allah, God, to me, Mr. Yakub was seen by the 23 scientists of the Black nation 15,000 years ago, to be exact. 15,043 years ago. They predicted that in the year 8,400, that was in our calendar year before this world of the white race, this man Yakub will be born 20 miles from the present holy city, Mecca, Arabia. And that at the time of his birth, the satisfaction and the dissatisfaction of the people would be 70% satisfied, 30% dissatisfied. And that when this man, Mr. Yakub, is born, he will change the civilization, the world, and produce a new race of people who will rule the original Black nation for 6,000 years, from 9,000 years to the 15,000 year. After that time, the original Black nation would give birth to one whose wisdom, knowledge, and power would be infinite. One who the world would recognize as being the greatest and mightiest God since the creation of the universe. And that he would destroy Yakub's world and restore the original nation and ancient nation into power to rule forever. So, what we understand now is that when we speak of the 23 scientists, if you're not understanding, I'll have a video that'll come and explain the 23 scientists from you, for you, not from you, but for you. But the 23 scientists prophesied that Yakub would come, and that a man would come and create a people that would rule for a certain amount of time. And I know a lot of people hear that and they'll be like, oh man, how is this the truth and this, that, and the third? But just give me a second. We're going to get into it. So we're going to get into the second part, the 98% dissatisfied. Mr. Yakub was naturally born out of the 30% dissatisfied. As we know, wherever there is a longing or demand for a change, nature will produce that man who will bring it about. Allah God taught me that the present percentage of dissatisfaction is 98%, near 100% with the present ruling powers. This 100% dissatisfied will bring about a 100% change. Yakub did not bring about a 100% change, but near 90%. Allah God, to whom praises are due, said that when Yakub was 6 years old, one day he was sitting down playing with two pieces of steel. He noticed the magnetic power in the steel attracting the other. He looked up to his uncle and said, "Uncle, when I get to be an old man, I'm going to make a people who shall rule you." The uncle said, "What will you make? Something to make mischief and cause bloodshed in the land?" Yakub said, "Nevertheless, uncle, I know that which you do not know." And it was at that moment the boy Yakub first came into the knowledge of just who he was. Born to make trouble, break peace, kill and destroy his own people, with a made enemy to the Black nation. So when you think about the dissatisfied, you think about right now in the time we're in, right? And this is a perfect conversation, because what we're talking about as a whole is we're talking about the cave of apocalypse, and we're thinking about the time that we in, with the vid out here, with the jab out here. Really understand, So we're thinking about these things out here moving around. We're thinking about cops killing people. We think about all this craziness with men dressing as women and wanting to have babies. So you think about the level of dissatisfaction. And it said that naturally, when the people are when the people are dissatisfied, wherever there's longing or demand for a change, nature will produce that man who will bring it about. You know, so when you think about that, we're in this time right now. You see what I'm saying? And in this time, we need to be aware, understand our dissatisfaction, and know who the devil is, and know who our open enemy is, and make sure that we are taking care of that, and we're focused on that and not taking it out on each other. You know, not tearing down each other. But let's get into this 2 pieces of steel. So it says that he learned his future from playing with steel. It's steel and more steel that has made his race, the white race, are still playing with. Steel has become the most useful of all metal for the people. What he really saw in playing with these 2 pieces of steel was the magnetic power of attraction. The one attracting and drawing the other under its power. As this, he saw an unlike human being made to attract others who could, with the knowledge of tricks and lies, rule the original black man until the nation could produce one greater and capable of overcoming and making manifest his race of tricks and lies with the nation of truth and the like. Yakub was the founder of Unalike Attract and Alike Repels. Though Mr. Yakub was a member of the Black Nation, he began school at the age of 4. He had an unusual sized head. When he had grown up, the others referred to him as the big head scientist. At the age of 18, he had finished all of the colleges and universities of his nation and was seen preaching on the streets of Mecca, making converts. He made such impressions on the people that many began following him. He learned from studying the germ of the black man under the microscope that there were 2 people in him and that one was black and the other brown. He said if he could successfully separate the one from the other, he could graft the brown germ into the last stage, which would be white. With his wisdom, he could make the white, which he discovered was the weaker of the black germ, which would be unalike, rule the black nation for a time until a greater one, then Yakub, was born. This new idea put him to work finding the necessary converts to begin grafting his new race of people. He began by teaching Islam with promise of luxury to those who would believe and follow. So when you think about those 2 pieces of metal, and you understand that the rule of magnetism, opposites attract, and you think about how we living right now every day, that it seems like our people can't separate from these guys. You know, we want separation. We're not saying that, you know, y'all niggas need to live on another planet, excuse me. We're not saying y'all need to live on another planet, but what we're saying is the separation is necessary for us to fix the condition that we're in. When you're looking at your brothers and sisters and you see them dressing like this and acting like this and doing certain things, and I'm not saying I'm out here perfect. You might say, Brother Charles, I seen you doing this, that, and the other. Like, we all striving to stand upright, but some things is just too amazing. It's just too amazing. Like, it's too amazing, and you gotta relax. You know what I mean? And so when you think about that, we right now we got the dissatisfaction. We understand the 2 pieces of steel. We looking outside and seeing how people are dissatisfied and the opposites are attracting, because the dissatisfied is starting to go outside and run down on the satisfied. And this voice that you're starting to hear is creating starting a rumble out here. You understand? Let's keep going. Let's keep going. I don't want to give you guys all the work. Some of this you're going to have to get. You know what I mean? But let's go. So after the king learned who Yakub was, They all were afraid of him, and they were glad to make an agreement with him and his followers. The history or future of Mr. Yakub and his people was in the nation's book by the writers, 23 scientists of our history, 8,400 years before his birth. So the government began to make preparation for the exiling of Mr. Yakub and his followers. The king ordered everyone rounded up who was a believer in Mr. Yakub. They took them to the seaport and loaded them on ships. After rounding them all up into ships, they numbered 59,999 people. Yakub made 60,000. Their ships sailed out to an isle in the Aegean Sea called Pelon, in the Bible, Patmos. After they were loaded into these ships, Mr. Yakub examined each one of them to see if they were 100% with him, and to see if they were all healthy and productive people. If not, he would throw them off. Some were found to be unfit, and overboard they went. When they arrived at the isle, Mr. Yakub said to them, "See how they, the holy people, have cast us out? Now if you choose me to be your king, I will teach you how to go back and rule them all." Of course, they had already chosen Yakub to be their king at the very start. So Yakub chose doctors, ministers, nurses, and a cremator for his top laborers. He called these laborers together and told them his plan for making a new people who would rule for 6,000 years. He called the doctor first and said, "Doctor, let all the people come to you who want to marry, and if there comes to you 2 real black ones, take a needle and get a little of their blood and go into your room and pretend to be examining it to see whether their blood would mix. Then come and tell them that they will have to find another mate, because their blood does not mix." It was the aim of Yakub to get rid of the black, and he did. Give them a certificate to take to the minister, warning the minister against marrying the couple because their blood does not mix. When there comes to you 2 browner ones, take a pretended blood test of them, but give them a certificate saying that they are eligible to be married. October 31st, 1957. The Islamic World, the Making of a Race of Devils, New York, Amsterdam News. Mr. Yakub's charge to his laborers was very strict: death if one disobeyed. They didn't know what Yakub had in mind until they were given their labor to do. The brown and black cannot be married, brown only. The doctors of today hold the same position over people. You go to them to get a blood test to see if you're fit to be married. Today they say it is done to see if there are any contagious germs in the blood. I wish they would enforce such a law today to keep the white from mixing with black, just the opposite. Perhaps we could remain black and not be disgraced by a mixture of all colors. In the days of Yakub's grafting of the present white race, a new and unalike race among the black nation, for 600 years his law was they should not allow the black to mix with their blood. His aim was to kill and destroy the black nation. He ordered the nurses to kill all black babies that came to birth among his people by pricking their brains with a sharp needle as soon as the black child's head is out of his mother. If the mother is alert, watching the nurse, then the nurse will lie and fool the mother to get possession of her child to murder it by saying that she, mother, gave birth to an angel child, and that she, the nurse, would like to take the baby to heaven, so when the mother dies, she would have a room with her child in heaven, for her baby was an angel. This is the beginning of the first lie or liar, and it was so that the nurse would take the black baby away on this falsehood and claim that they were taking the poor black baby to heaven. As Yakub had taught them, they would feed it to the wild beasts, and if they did not find the wild beasts to feed the black babies to, Yakub told the nurses to give it to the cremator to burn. Mr. Yakub warned the laborers from the doctor down to this cremator that if any one of them failed to carry out his orders, off go their heads. When there was a birth of a brown baby, the nurse would come and make a do over it, and it would tell the mother that she had given birth to a holy child and that she would nurse it for the next 6 weeks, for her child was going to be a great man, especially if it was a boy baby. After the first 200 years, Mr. Yakub had done away with the black babies and all were brown. After another 200 years, he had all yellow or red. which was 400 years after being on P-line. Another 200 years, which brings us to the 600th year, Mr. Yakub had an all pale white race people on this isle. Of course, Mr. Yakub did not live but 150 years, but his idea continued into practice. He gave his people guidance in the form of literature, what they should do and how to do it, how to rule the black nation. He said to them, when you become unlike white, you may return to the Holy Land and people from whom you were exiled. The Yakub made devils were really pale white with real blue eyes, which we think are the most ugliest of colors for the human eye. They were called Caucasian, which means stale face and weak bone, later called Shaitan, which means, according to some of the Arab scholars, one whose evil effect is not confined to oneself alone but affects others. There is no good taught to them while on this island. By teaching the nurses to kill the black baby and save the brown baby, so as to graft the white out of it by lying to the black mother of the baby, this lie was born into the very nature of the white baby, and murder for the black people was also born in them, are made by nature a liar and a murderer. The black nation is only fooling themselves to take the Caucasian race otherwise. This is what Jesus learned of their history before he gave up his work of trying to convert the Jews or white race to the religion of Islam. And the same knowledge of them is given to Muhammad by the imams or scientists of Mecca. That is why the war on the Muslims against them came to a stop. Muhammad was told that he cannot reform the devils and that the race had 1,400 more years to live, and the only way to make righteous people Muslims out of them was to graft them back into the black nation. This grieved Muhammad so much that it caused him heart trouble unto the death, aged 62 and a half years. The old scientists used to laugh at Muhammad for thinking he could convert them, the devils, to Islam. This hurt his heart. So, this is very important because I understand when a lot of you guys hear this, when you hear Yakub and the making of the white man, you guys get lost and you're like, oh my goodness. For some reason, you guys feel racist. You know what I mean? I don't understand how that works, but all of a sudden when you hear this, all of a sudden you become racist and you start to think like, oh, well, you know, you can't say that and this isn't the truth and where did you get this from and there's no historic proof and Honorable Elijah Muhammad said this from this person and all this weird stuff that you guys like to say because in your mind, you know this is the truth, right? Which brings us to the cave of apocalypse because, you know, I understand that black people love white people. I get it. You know, I came from that same mentality where I was wrapped up in everything that they think and everything that they do. And if somebody told me I love the white man, I'd be ready to rumble. I'd be ready to fight, you know, ready to fight my brother, but never the open enemy to our people, the people out here trying to jab us, the people out here stealing our children, the people out here doing all kinds of different things. And now we out here acting like dumb. So don't get it twisted, because this is not about just talking about white people. You have to understand who they are to understand what you're doing and how you're not being yourself. But let me not get too far ahead of myself, you know? So let's get into this cave of apocalypse, because I know that you guys need to have an understanding because of what you just heard. You need to have the proof. And to me, if somebody was telling me some things, especially they cared about me, I wouldn't really be on that. But I understand what you guys need. So let's get into it. So the Cave of Apocalypse. The Cave of Apocalypse is situated about halfway up the mountain on the Asian island of Patmos, along the road between the villages of Chorta and Scala. This grotto is believed to mark the spot where John of Patmos received his visions that he recorded in the book of Revelation. In 1999, UNESCO declared the Cave of a joint World Heritage Site together with the Monastery of St. John the Theologian. So when we say UNESCO, what that is United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Education. So they save certain sites, heritage sites, and they make it where people can't go there, certain things you can't do, you know. And what's crazy about this is on the outside of this, you know, it has a picture of John at the outside, St. John the Theologian, and they have him white, right? And you're saying, O.T.G, what does it matter if it's white? Well, first, I need you guys to understand, when you look at these pictures, this is the pictures actually on the wall inside the cave. So when you have an understanding now of what you're looking at. So on the outside of the cave, they have a white John, because they want you to you know, be lost out here. They want you to know and think that, you know, this was a white man. Because this is all part how they keep your history away from you. So when you look into these things, you start to think like, oh, okay. You don't see yourself, then you start to doubt yourself and start to think that you're the devil. Well, we're going to get into it. So, you know, the author of the book of Revelation identifies himself only as John. People traditionally believe that this is the same person as John the Apostle, John the son of Zebedee, or John the Evangelist. You know, but there's other people who believe that this is somebody else. You know, Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that this is actually Yakub. You know, that this is actually Yakub. So it's important to know this information when we talk about this. And the reason why I wanted to bring this up is because these guys are slippery, and they got a lot of trickery, which they learned from Yakub, and they have you out here doing the same. They have you out here acting and maneuvering because you don't see the God in yourself. You don't see yourself in history, and you don't understand who you are. So because you have a lack of understanding for who you are, then you're out here acting how you believe you should act. So what I want you to do now is look at this picture in the bottom, because I want you to take a look. I want you to look right here at the faces. I want you to look at the angels. I want you to look down here at all the faces of the people and notice that all these are black people. All these are black people, but I want you to notice the skin tones, because they do a lot of things with the skin tones. Look how black. So this is John, and this is his vision when Jesus came to him with the 7 seals, the 7 angels, you know. And we'll save this for another day. So I'm not going to get too much into it. I just want to get into what you see. That they say this is Jesus. They say this right here is Jesus. They say this right here is John laying down, who had a vision of Jesus. So if this is Jesus and this is the angels, and when we look over here and we start to understand that all of these are black people, then we understand that this is the black nation. This is the black nation. So if you understand somebody being sent to the caves and exiled to the caves, then this starts to prove what Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us in 1957 about Yakub, because how would he know about Patmos? That's one. Two, as we get into Patmos, because I know this is what you would think. I know how he would know. Let me just be clear in that aspect. I know how he knows. You know, but for you need to think about that, because you need to have an understanding and start to wake up and look at history different. When you look at these pictures, all of these pictures have been whitened and lightened. But you know what? I think for this case, what I want to do actually is I think I want to actually play the audio. You know what I mean? We play some audio for you guys and play some audio for you guys and show you a video so you could see just what we're talking about. You know what I mean? Because I think you guys still don't believe me. And I want you guys to have some understanding. So here we go. So if you look at this, we're going to take a tour. We're going to take a tour. Here's the actual tour on the island of Patmos. So if you look right now, what you can see is you can see how they have the white man outside of the cave. This is on Patmos. This is Pelon. So understand, this is the outside of the caves. We're about to keep going. They do not let people go back in and videotape anymore. And the crazy thing about this video, when I found it, is that this is the only video. There's a lot of places, because it's a World Heritage site, that have video, but they do not show the black people. You know, but think about what we're saying right now, that on this island, people came as black people, and then the white man was created. So when you see that they go to the outside, you see a white man. And, you know, Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches that it took 600 years, and they built into the caves of East Europe. They were exiled. So when you start to look out into this, and you start to look at these people, pale white people, blue-eyed white people. Now, this is the entry to the cave. Now look at this. When you get inside of the cave, check this out, family. When you get to the outside, the actual entry of the cave, guess who turns into a black man? So this is very important for you to understand, because this is the proof that they know. And we're going to keep going, though. We're going to keep going. So we're walking inside of the cave now. And you can see by the colors of everyone.
First of all, welcome on the island of Patmos.
So you can see by the colors of everyone that these are white people. And you can see by the colors on the wall. Let's go back some. If you look right here, they say that this is, I believe he says this is Virgin Mary's mother. And you can see that they're all black people. So that means these are this is the black nation. And when you look at these white people going and learning the history of the black nation and learning the true history of, let's not say they're learning the true history of themselves, but what they are learning is something different than what you know. So they see you in history and they know who you are. And their most holy place, they're going there and they're seeing you on the walls. They're seeing you as somebody holy. They're seeing you as the original person. And you don't see yourself. And so in this cave, the cave of apocalypse, on the island where Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that the white man was created and that this would be the fall of America, their creation would be the fall of America and the change of how life goes going forward, because their time of rule would bring so much destruction that it would bring about somebody out of the dissatisfied who will bring 100% change. So let's keep going, because we now see that they know who you are, and they do tours to people to show who you are while keeping you purposely asleep. But we're going to keep going, because there's a surprise in this video for you where I could truly show you that they know exactly who we are while you're sleeping.
First of all, welcome on the island of Patmos, and secondly, welcome in the cave of the Revelation.
Tout d'abord, vous êtes les bienvenus sur l'île de Patmos et sur la caverne de l'Apocalypse.
This natural and volcanic rock, which is above and around us, is in fact the holy cave in where St. John the Evangelist, one of the 12 disciples of Jesus Christ, the beloved one, wrote the only prophetic book of the New Testament.
And so I want you to see just how calmly these people are talking, and look behind you. Look behind them. Look at all those black faces on the wall while they're telling you how holy this cave is.
Book of the Revelation.
Ce rocher volcanique est naturel et dans la caverne où Saint Jean, un des 12 disciples et le bien-aimé de Jésus, a reçu le seul livre prophétique qui s'appelle l'Apocalypse.
If you open a New Testament book, you can find this particular book, the book of the Revelation, at the end. It is the last book of the New Testament, and it refers to the future of the human race. That's why it is called prophetic book. St. John is also the author of the fourth gospel.
I want you to pay attention to the words human race. Human race, because they're mankind. It's always a difference between human and mankind.
Of 3 epistles which are called Catholic epistles.
This book is found in the last book of the Gospels, and it is... Oh, pardon. Alors, ça fait rien, c'est comme ça. Alors, c'est tout à fait à la fin des épîtres, on trouve ce livre, et c'est pour cela que ça s'appelle prophétique, parce que ça prophétise le futur de l'humanité. Saint Jean aussi, il a écrit le 4e livre des épîtres, et puis 3 autres qui s'appellent...
3 epistles which are called Catholic.
Les 3 épîtres qui s'appellent catholiques. Et le 4e évangile, j'avais dit au plus.
Saint John the Evangelist was exiled here, Patmos, was persecuted here by the Roman.
So first off, notice. So we have some similarities. What we have here already is that he was exiled there. We understand that Yakub was exiled there. So we're going to keep going. I'm not in this. We understand what we've been taught from the Bible. But what I need you to understand, if you're listening this far, because one, I know you never saw inside of the cave of Apocalypse. You never saw this video. So I know as of right now, your mind is blown and you haven't even saw the whole thing. But I know the white people lover in you is saying, oh, well, in Christianity it says this, and you're looking for all the reasons why. But I would just say, take a deep breath, relax. You're looking at an island off the coast of Turkey called Pelon, aka Patmos. This is where John had the revelation, but you thought John was white. This is your first time seeing that in the cave on the island in Greece, they have him as black. They have black Jesus on the wall. They have black Mary on the wall. They have Mary's mother is black on the wall. So automatically, a lot of the things that you have been taught are automatically not right because you were never taught or shown this visual. You were just told what to believe and you believed it. So let's keep going.
Emperor Domitian in the 1st century AD, in 95 AD, because of the persecutions against the first Christians.
Alors, Saint Jean était envoyé sur cette île comme exil. C'était l'île de l'exil. Il a été
First.
Le premier siècle, dans le premier siècle, par plus
95. Roman Emperor Domitian.
L'empereur romain Domitien, il était renvoyé par lui.
At first, Saint John used to stay down in the harbor area, in Scala, as the harbor is called by the locals. And from Scala, okay, at first, Saint John used to stay down in the harbor area, in Scala.
Dans le début, Saint Jean était pas sur cette caverne, mais il était sur la plage où ça s'appelle Scala, où il baptisait.
And from Scala, he used to come up in this volcanic cave in order to pray with his disciple Prochoros.
Et il venait de temps en temps ici sur cette caverne pour prier avec son disciple Prochoros.
He also used to lie down at this corner. He used...
So I want you to just I hope you're taking this in and you're looking at how all of this goes together. And I want you to have just a quick understanding of again, just look at how this is a World Heritage Site. So let's keep it going.
Put his head in this big cavity, using it as a sort of a pillow for himself. And this smaller cavity was used by him as a sort of a handle for himself. In other words, whenever he wanted to lift himself up, to raise his body up, he put his hand in there. And he did that because he was quite old at that time.
Alors, vous voyez, il y a un trou là à l'intérieur du rocher. C'est là où il se reposait, comme ça. Il mettait sa tête à l'intérieur. Et puis, comme il était très âgé, il mettait sa main à l'intérieur de ce petit trou pour pouvoir se lever.
According now to the first chapter of the Revelation book, of the Revelation text, one Sunday, St. John saw the second person
So pay attention.
of the Holy Trinity, Jesus Christ.
So look what he just said. We're going to play it again. One Sunday afternoon, he saw in a vision the second person allegedly in the Trinity, Jesus Christ. Look at that. But look who he points at. He points at a black man on the wall. Let's look at it again.
The second person of the Holy Trinity, Jesus Christ, as he is depicted on this large icon of the 16th century.
As he's depicted on this last icon of the 16th century. Let's look one more time. It's 2021. People still out here believing in white Jesus. In the cave of Patmos, the cave of apocalypse, Patmos. Black Jesus on the wall, Black John on the wall, black angels on the wall. Let's keep going. One more time.
St. John saw the second person of the Holy Trinity, Jesus Christ, as he is depicted on this large icon of the 16th century.
Et un jour, il a eu cette vision de la deuxième personne de la Trinité. Comme vous voyez sur cette icône qui est du XVIe siècle, il a vu la deuxième personne comme cette.
So look at that. Just take a look. Look at the greatness of that. You know, you got Black Jesus on the wall, and look how dark. Even though the camera is dark, you can see they white. So, 16th century, black angels, black Jesus.
C'était dessiné là.
Jesus Christ spoke to him, dictating to him the Revelation text, and his voice was so tremendous, was so strong, that it cracked the ceiling of the cave.
Alors, Jésus-Christ qui lui a parlé, sa voix était tellement forte, je peux dire, mais ce n'est pas le mot correct, forte, parce que c'était puissante, qu'elle a pu craquer la caverne sur le plafond.
This is actually the crack. It comes from the western part of the cave. It runs across the ceiling of the cave. And here, to the east, it splits the rock in three parts. 1, 2, 3. And this is the symbolism of the Holy Trinity, a very fundamental symbol for the whole Christianity.
Le rocher était déchiré, comme vous voyez, depuis là, en une ligne toute droite qui arrive jusqu'ici, et puis c'est formé d'une manière en trois pierres, comme ça, pour donner cette, si vous voulez, la Trinité. Ça symbolise la Trinité.
This surface of the split rock is very important, especially for the Orthodox Christians, for the Orthodox pilgrims who happen to come here, because of one similarity. Which one? Whenever the Orthodox Christians want to symbolize the Holy Trinity using their fingers, they connect these three fingers together and they cross themselves like this. Now,
So think about all the times that we've seen this in history. So think about where this started. Think about the black man laying in the cave, thinking about black Jesus. Allegedly, Jesus' voice was so loud that it cracked at the top of the cave. And the crack symbolizes the Holy Trinity. And I just want you to understand how slippery these guys are. Just, if you want to get inside this story and get into all that, cool. My point of showing you this is to show you that when we say the island of Patmos and we say, it's been proven, you can go on CNN, you can see that it is the island of the apocalypse. It's a World Trade heritage site for the island of the apocalypse. And that's just a little bit crazy for the people who came out of, for the understanding of what we just saw visually. We saw a white man on the outside, but on the inside, we see all black people. From what we're taught from Honorable Elijah Muhammad, what we just read is that it took 600 years on that island to make the white man. So we have a visual representation of the white man and the black man, the brown man, the black man. We have on the wall the brown man and the red man. When you actually look back through the pictures that I showed you guys already from inside the caves. So we have the history of the men. We have the tie to the apocalypse. We have the caves. We have white people here explaining this. We have the United Nations Heritage Site. So we have so many points already that tie this together. They got Black Jesus on the wall. They have Black Mary on the wall. They have Mary's mother on the wall. They have Black John on the wall. They have Black angels on the wall. And the only person who is white is Procheros. Think about that. Let's keep going.
If you see the surface of my connected fingers is similar to the surface of the split rock. So, the Orthodox Christians, by doing this, they probably follow this old and certain tradition.
Si vous voyez encore une fois les trois parties, c'est très important pour les orthodoxes grecs qui viennent ici parce que ça symbolise la manière comment ils se croient, ils se font la croix. Si vous voyez mes doigts qui sont formés comme ça, ils ont le même aspect comme le rocher. Et c'est probablement, on se croise comme ça, et c'est probablement la tradition était venue de cette pierre-là.
Saint John fell down like dead because it was a very strong spiritual experience for himself.
So notice he just pointed to St. John, laid out. He's back to the picture, and he's explaining the Black nation. Let's keep going.
And we know that he did not write the Revelation text on his own because he was not able to do so. So what did he do? He dictated everything he was seeing and hearing in this cave to his disciple.
And so you can automatically see, even though this, like I said, old camera, you can see he's a white man. Boom. You can see this is a black face. But look right there. You have a white face. You have black faces. You have a white face. So, Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that Yakub dictated to his followers different texts and things for them to be able to go forward and rule after they came out the white race. Let's keep going.
And Prochoros himself used this natural desk, this natural bookstand, and he wrote on this flat place whatever St. John was dictating to him.
L'expérience de Saint Jean était tellement forte quand il a entendu la voix de Jésus qu'il est tombé, comme vous voyez dans cette icône, comme s'il était mort. Et puisqu'il était dans cet état, il ne pouvait pas écrire les paroles qu'il entendait de Dieu, mais il y avait son disciple Prochoros qui est là dans cette icône, qui était comme scribe, si vous voulez, pour prendre les paroles.
And here we have it. We have the zoom in again. Black man, white man, dictating to the white man what to write. They just showed you. Let's keep going.
Que disait Saint Jean, il y a de ce côté-là un pupitre naturel et il paraît que c'était là qu'il prenait la dictée de Saint Jean.
This part here, this side chapel, the entrance of which you came.
Now what I want you to look at is this guy right here behind him. Look at this guy right here behind him.
And the buildings which are above the cave, you saw them while you were coming down, were built later, were added later.
Cette partie que vous voyez maintenant ici, cette petite chapelle, était construite beaucoup plus tard, ainsi que la maison qui est au-dessus de cette chapelle.
In fact, this was the natural entrance of the cave, the old entrance of the cave. Imagine now how the things were at those times. The cave, no decoration at all, nothing above it. The entrance of it, it was an open cave facing straight outside in the open air.
Alors imaginez-vous que cette partie-là, c'était l'entrée principale de la caverne. Et tout était comme c'est naturel à l'intérieur. Alors imaginez-vous quand les gens venaient pour rentrer de cette manière, de ce côté-là.
This side chapel, the chapel of Saint Anna, the mother of the Virgin Mary.
So, Saint Anna, the mother of the Virgin Mary, all black people. Again, all black people on the walls. Let's look at it.
Ce côté-là.
This side chapel, the chapel of Saint Anna, the mother of the Virgin Mary, which is in a way closes the old entrance of the cave, was built in the 11th century. It is 900 years old.
So, have an understanding. 900 years old. 900 years old. So for 900 years, they've had this chapel. And when they decided to put people on the wall, they decided to put St. Anna, is who they said, Virgin Mary's mother, on the wall. A black lady. And her black daughter. And her black son. And her black son in a vision as an adult. And her black son's voice broke the top of the cave, cracked it, made John fall, hit his head. He had a vision of Revelation. And so John told his white disciple what to write in the book of Revelations. I'm just saying, you heard it yourself. Let's keep going.
Cette chapelle-là que vous voyez est bâtie pour cette...
So you can see them on the wall. It's a little dark, but you see. Black people. Black people. Black people. It looks a little red. Black people. Black people.
Anne, la maman de notre mère, la Vierge.
Take a look at this guy right here. He's a yellow man. So we got a black man in the back, which is Jesus and John. We got like a yellow man right here. We have black Anna, black Mary, black baby Jesus. We have all the colors. So we verify seeing black and yellow man and the white man. So far, the white people talking. Let's keep going.
Et puis, cette partie qui est ouverte, maintenant, il y a une autre entrée. Elle était bâtie dans le siècle
11th century.
Et dans le 11e siècle, qui fait que c'est 900 ans vieux.
And the buildings which are above the cave were built in the 18th century. They are 200 years old.
Les bâtiments qu'on va filmer peut-être plus tard au-dessus de cette caverne, c'est des bâtiments qui datent depuis
18th century.
18e siècle.
This is the story of the place.
C'est l'histoire de cette place.
Have a nice time here on the island of Patmos.
Que vous passez très bien ici à l'île de Patmos.
And have a nice return back to your countries.
Et puis que vous rentrez en bien.
Look at these pictures. So, this is what you see. You see all black people. You just saw the white man in the picture. Let's go back. Let's go back. You see white man, red man. Look. White man, white man, white man. All kinds of white people. So they know. It's the proof that they know. Look, all white people. All white people. It's crazy, right? Look, they're coming out of the caves. Trying to tell you, they know the truth. Inside of the cave. So we've seen every colored person inside of this cave documented. Let's keep going. So, now that we see that, let's get back and bring the music back. It's a little crazy, right? It's a little crazy, right? So now that you see that, you have to take time to find yourself in history, you know what I mean? Because when you out here acting outside of your nature, which a lot of people are out here definitely acting outside of their nature, a lot of people are definitely out here acting outside of their nature. And it's like I said to you earlier, once you kind of know who you are and have an understanding of who you are, then you'll start to do better and accept yourself, accept your own and be yourself. So quickly, let's look at the bottom. So here's Jesus. Here's the black angels. Here's John, black, all black people. Here's where he laid his head. That's where he got up. Black people. Here's a red man, clearly a red man. And here's a yellow man. Here's a white man. It clearly said this was Saint Anna, Virgin Mary's mother, black, black, black. So this goes to what Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us about the island of Patmos, that Yakub was exiled to the island. And when he was exiled to the island, on that island, it took 600 years to make the white man. On that island, he made the red man, he made the yellow man, and the white man. They all were created from that island. We see who actually lives there now. We're very familiar. And so you say, O.T.G, what's the importance of this? I'm not really understanding. I want you to just look at this. This guy right here knows exactly who you are. But you every day operating in this world, you don't know who you are. So are you being yourself? That is the question of the day. Are you being yourself? Are you acting in your true nature? Are you being upright? If you haven't listened to my last podcast, check out the caves. You got to get out of these caves. They love these caves. You notice this is a cave, they made it a holy place. Is this where you want to be? You know, we think about these guys really doing, and right now to this day, people are traveling there and they're seeing you on the wall. But when we are operating and acting, are we acting in our nature? We aren't. And we've had somebody sit here in our midst to tell us, Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan have been teaching the same message for 91 years. And so I feel like once you know yourself and have a different understanding, then you operate differently in this world. You know, you understand what's going on when you're seeing this stuff going on with the pandemic. When you see this going on out in the streets, you see the struggle that white men have with black men. You start to have this understanding that there is something going on that's higher than us, you know? And the importance of knowing who you are and where you came from, knowing that you came with the earth. You're a package deal with the earth. You know, Allah, God came with the earth. And you are a descendant of that and the black nation. And it shows on the walls right there. And you can see these white people, they pray to you because they know who you are. You know, let's play it again.
St. John saw the second person of the Holy Trinity, Jesus Christ.
The second person of the Holy Trinity. They know exactly who you are. This picture right here, this is one from one of the oldest texts in Caucasian Georgian history right here. And this is a picture of black Jesus and the disciples raising Lazarus. This right here is allegedly Saint Cristaldo coming out of the caves to bring the word to people in the cave. Some say this is Moses, but this is where history starts to get lost. The importance is to know who you are. You know, don't let the whole world know who you are.
As he is depicted on this large icon of the 16th century.
Don't let the world know who you are and you don't know who you are. You know, and don't be Yakub. You know, you can get full of this information, try to get all this understanding. Sometimes you could be so smart you're stupid. You know, and there's a lot of stupid, smart people out here. You know, we deal with that a lot because I'm sure there's going to be some stupid, smart people in the comments who got a lot of different things to say instead of just sit back and try to have understanding. And you could create devils yourself. You know what I mean? And you need to have to understand and have that understanding with yourself every day. Like, what are you? Are you a god or are you a devil? If you're original man, you should be a god, stand upright, get the righteousness. If you want to be a devil, then you need to go over there with the devils, you know, but around here, we righteous and we try and stand upright. You know, we believe that the black man is God, the black woman is God, the black child is God, Allah is God, God was a man, you know, and God is a man. God is inside of all of us. We are direct descendants to the triple darkness, the eternal, essentially black womb, where Atom, Allah, the original man, came out of, and then we get the divine man, you know, but that's another discussion. When you get into that, what we need to understand and you need to know is when you get up every day and you're thinking about what you're about to do, when you're thinking about your hardships, when you're thinking about all these different people, when you're about to make these posts, when you're about to say things, you need to remember, are you a god or are you the devil? Are you a righteous man or a grafted man? Are you a human or are you mankind? Are you from the original black nation that everybody in the world prays to? Or do you want to be like the white man, new to the planet? You let me know. Because they know who you are. So obviously now it's up to you to figure out who you are. If you like more information, check out NOI.org. The teachings are there, Nation of Islam. Scroll all the way down to the bottom to the Nations program. If you want to sign up and get stuff weekly, you can put my number in there, 250-491. Check out my website, 7xotg.com. We got books for sale, all kinds of different things for sale. You could join the live chat, the Discord. Make sure you check out blackisgod.net, O.T.G. 123. If you want to donate, Cash App, And in closing, I just want to say, I just want you to have some understanding. Now that you understand the prophecy of Yakub, now you understand that we were put in this position for 6,000 or 7,000 years. And I say 6 or 7 because I know it's a lot of different people out there who feel different ways. And one thing about me, if you understand, I'm writing it exact, but I like to give you room to try to correct me, so then that way we can have the conversation and I can correct you. It's called engagement. So, we know that they were meant to rule for 6,000 or 7,000 years. We could see clearly that their time is up with the vid. We could see that the dissatisfaction level is almost at 100%. It's actually been at 100% for a while. This is also how we know things are changing. We also know that, we could be devils. We could be devils too. We could be mischievous. We also know that they hid our history from us. So a lot of us are inadvertently acting like the wrong thing because we think we acting like the right thing. But I just showed you the proof of who you are and that they know and that they classify it. And as you go search these videos and you go look to try to prove me wrong, what you'll see is they won't ever show that wall. And when they do, Jesus is just as black as he was. Saint Anne is just as black as she was. John's just as black as he was. And everybody else is just as white as they are. So to me, that's all the proof that I needed right there. And that gives me an understanding and helps me know that we are the original man, Asiatic black man. Cream of the crop. You understand? Rulers of the earth. You don't dig it. Make sure you share, like, comment, all of that good stuff. Brother Charles 7X, Black is God podcast. Hopefully you found this valuable and you appreciated it. I appreciate you. And I'm thankful for you guys. Have a great day. Assalamu alaikum.